Greetings and salutations, Internet. This is Wolfphototech, and here we go with another little fun overview video for Pathfinder, but this time it's Pathfinder First Edition, which is also oftentimes referred to as Dungeons & Dragons 3.75 Edition. This is actually a really nice Gamemaster screen. It has a handy. The outer sleeve is fairly solid. I forgot to mention this in the Pathfinder Second Editions, but it is actually sturdy enough that it can actually be used as a mini screen, like for a corner or something. So if you have your Gamemaster screen and you want to stand it up, and you want just a little more coverage, you can always paperclip this. You can always paperclip this to the corner and add an extra panel onto your screen. But anyways, inside this dust cover, there's the Open Game License information, version 1.0a, an image of what's on the outside, and a hint at what's on the inside, along with the OGL tag. 3.5 OGL compatible. This is a vertical Gamemaster screen. I actually kind of like verticals, but also at the same time I also somewhat prefer horizontals too. It's kind of a split. But you have all the major iconics from Pathfinder First Edition on the screen. You have no border on the bottom, where Starfinder has a border like the top on the bottom, but in blue. So there you go. That is a good overview of the artwork on it. I love the crap out of gnomes. They're so delightful. But anyways, you got beautiful artwork on the outside. However, on the inside, it's literally nothing but charts and text. It's rather utilitarian or economical in design. In the inside, starting from left to right, I'm going left to right. Whoop. Much like Starfinder, it starts with the skills. So you have your skill DCs and various other mechanics tied to a skill. So like moving across narrow surface, acrobatics DC, and then you have long jump, high jump, acrobatics modifiers, bluff bluff opposed by sense motives, page 90. As I said before in the past in the other videos, all these sections have page numbers attached to them. So the acrobatics has in brackets page 87 of the core rulebook. It always refers to the core rulebook first and foremost. And it just lists down here. Then you got wind effects on flight, climb, diplomacy, disable device, fly, heal, knowledge, perception. That's a really long chart for perception. Ride, spellcraft, survival, and then yet again survival is actually quite long. Swim, and then we move on to the next section. We have attack roll modifiers section, which is we're now in the combat area. So we went from skills to combat, which is just this page right here, and then this is miscellaneous. But you have attack roll modifiers, armor class modifiers. Then you have a conditions section down here at the bottom, which is all text. You have combat maneuvers, how to calculate all that stuff. 2-weapon fighting penalties, concentration checks. And then we go over to here armor and weapon hardiness and hit points, substance hardness and hit points, common objects hardness and hit points, experience point rewards by CR, and treasure values per encounter, and then based on level. As you can see, this is just nothing but text. It's all fairly small. Whatever reason, they put this text down here at the bottom of this GameMaster screen. And then they have just chart after chart. The artwork, going back to the front, is beautiful. So there's no complaints about that. But inside, it is actually rather, it's super utility. It's just functional. The big problem I got now is, being that this is a vertical screen, it tends to cast a deeper shadow behind it. So you definitely need better lighting when using this screen behind you. But because they had this weird tendency, the text, they did definitely put a lot of space on the actual charts. For example, you got good space between the text here, horizontal lines, and then numbers, so it doesn't run together. But then you have a lot of text stuffed in between in these lines over on here, and then down here you got a huge several paragraphs just down at the bottom. The problem with this is that even though this chart is actually perfectly readable, it is on the small side and the thin side for text. So if your lighting is not good, it's going to be harder to read this overall. Some of the bold words for abilities, because they bolden, you see, they bolden some of the words tied to keywords, abilities, etc., actions. Those are easy to read. However, if you have poor lighting in the room or poor eyesight, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Now, the big pain is this text box down here is at the bottom of the screen. There's this little gap here, but that's not going to count for anything, really. The problem is this whole text box down here is going to be hard to read sitting behind the screen, unless you have decent eyesight. I actually have pretty good color vision, and my main eye is really good and crisp at detail, but my left eye is a little on the lazy side. So it's not hard for me to read this, even in the shade, but I could see a lot of people having difficulties making out some of these fine numbers here and there. It's just going to be hard for people to see, particularly the ones at the bottom. So this screen is functional. It is the screen, the standard screen for Pathfinder 1st edition. It has nice artwork on the front. It has a lot of really useful information on the back. It's just not optimally set up or prepared for someone to read it or use it. In this case, as I suggested with, say, like RuneQuest or Call of Cthulhu, there is a serious case of they need to make the words bigger, and they needed another panel right here. Needed one more panel to spread this out and enlarge the text a bit and bring everything further up the screen. And you could probably put little artwork across the bottom of the screen. But this is an older product, and it's kind of past its prime. People still play Pathfinder 1st edition because they're really, really into the system, and I commend them. They can definitely go ahead and do that. There is actually a fairly healthy community of Pathfinder First Edition players. However, it is generally shrinking as people are moving away from Pathfinder First Edition to Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, or moving over from Pathfinder First Edition to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Which, honestly, I'm just 100% okay for, you know? I could always use more Pathfinder 2nd Edition people. So, yeah. And as I said before, this dust screen can be used as an extent with paper clips, can be used as an extension to your to this GameMaster screen to make it taller. You just end up seeing one of your art panels on it. You know? So, thank you very much for watching this video. I placed this screen somewhere around like 5.5 or 5.25. It's still really usable. It's still actually really well made. My only dig really is that the text needs to be bigger, and you need an extra panel to spread it out to make it bigger. So it's a 3.5 or a 3. It's a 3.5 star one. So, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and consider subscribing. And have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time.